have been told something about pain that is not entirely true. You have been told that it breaks you, that it damages you, that it leaves you less than you were before. Neuroscience tells a far more complicated story, and for many people, a far more dangerous one. Because if you misunderstand what pain is doing to you, you will misread what is happening inside your own mind. I am not going to tell you your pain has a purpose. I am not going to tell you everything happens for a reason. If you lost a child, if you lost your health, if you lost someone you love, you do not need someone explaining it away. What matters is not why it happened. What matters is this: you are still here. And according to modern neuroscience, that is not random. It is evidence. Dr. Andrew Huberman, a neuroscientist at Stanford University School of Medicine, has shown something that directly contradicts how most people think about stress. The brain does not collapse under pressure. It reorganizes. Even in extreme conditions, the brain is not shutting down. It is actively adapting. Right now, this process is called neuroplasticity, not a metaphor, not motivation, biology, which means while you thought you were barely holding on, your brain was doing something else entirely. It was changing itself to keep you going. Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett, whose research spans Northeastern University and Harvard Medical School, took this further. Her work shows that the brain is not reacting to the present moment. It is predicting the future based on the past. The brain does not treat past experience as history. It treats it as instructions. Every moment you survived, every loss, every collapse, every day you thought you would not make it through was not filed away as damage. It was filed away as evidence. Evidence of what you are capable of surviving, which means the harder your past, the more sophisticated the prediction model your brain is running right now. Not in spite of what you have been through, because of it. So now we reach the question most people avoid. If your brain is adapting, if it is learning, if it is building, why does it still hurt? Dr. Bessel van der Kolk at Boston University School of Medicine answered that question with clarity that reshaped trauma research. The body does not forget. It records in your muscles, in your breathing, in your reflexes, in reactions you cannot explain. The phrase became foundational. The body keeps the score. But here is the part most people never hear. The system that recorded the pain is the same system that can reorganize it, not erase it, rewire it. Dr. Daniel J. Siegel at the UCLA School of Medicine calls this integration. The brain can take what feels chaotic and overwhelming and begin to structure it, gradually, quietly, until it becomes something you can carry without it controlling you. The experience does not shrink, you expand, and when you expand, the boundaries of what defines you change. There is a moment in psychological research that forced experts to rethink trauma entirely. In 1991, Rhonda Cornum survived a helicopter crash during the Gulf War. She was shot. Both arms were broken. She was taken prisoner. Years later, she reported something unexpected: greater clarity, greater confidence, greater precision about what matters, not in spite of what happened after it. That moment led Dr. Richard G. Tedeschi at the University of North Carolina to ask a different question. Not how people break, but what happens after they should have, after loss, after collapse, after the point where continuation does not make sense. What he found changed the field. A significant number of people did not return to baseline. They developed beyond it. He called it post-traumatic growth. and he made one thing very clear. The suffering is not good. The growth is not a reward. It is a response. Something in the human system continues to move forward even when the person believes they cannot. Dr. Martin P. Seligman at the University of Pennsylvania reached a similar conclusion from a completely different direction. Resilience is not rare. It is not a personality trait. It is a capacity, a built-in function of being human. So let's remove the abstraction. If you are still here, something inside you is already working. Not metaphorically, biologically. Your brain is adapting. Your nervous system is processing. Your internal systems are still active, even if you cannot feel it. And here is the part that is difficult to hear. Most people never recognize this while it is happening. Not because it is not real, because it does not feel like strength. It feels like survival. It feels like confusion. It feels like barely making it through another day. So I want to speak directly to you, not to a general audience, to the person who almost did not press play, to the person who does not have a clear picture of tomorrow, to the person who has been carrying something heavy long enough that it feels normal. I'm not going to tell you it gets easier. I'm not going to tell you to be strong. I'm going to tell you what the research shows. Consistently, across decades, you are not broken, you are not behind, you are not beyond recovery. Something inside you is still building. Right now, you have already moved through moments that should have stopped you. There was no guarantee, no clear path, and yet you continued. Not because everything made sense, not because you felt ready, because something in you did not stop. You did not survive your worst moment by accident. Your system adapted to carry you through it. And that leads to the final point. The evidence was never outside of you. It was never in what people said to you. It was never in whether the world made sense. Look at your hands. They have held things that were too heavy. They are still here. So are you. Not as the person you were before it happened. As someone the research did not predict but cannot deny, the system worked. And it is still working, right now. That is not hope. That is data.